So I'm gonna do my retro book. My retro book, I feel like I'm cheating because it's kind of like a black book, but not a black book because it's about King the Conqueror. Even
Who's
though, like,
Egyptian, but they made him
yes,
white.
yes, that's what the book is about. Let me see if I get to it. The reason I'm doing
The
it is
white pharaoh.
the white, yes, he's a white pharaoh on this, but I'm gonna explain it. I'm explaining it because, like I said, at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, then when they show the Council of Kings and everything like that, now they show all the main kings there also. They show Immortus and they show Jonathan Majors dressed up as an Egyptian pharaoh. And a lot of people was like confused, like, what the fuck is that? Well, the thing is, that's a reference to the comics. That's a reference to Rama-Tut. So Rama-Tut actually debuted before King the Conqueror. So he's actually the very first version of King the Conqueror. So he's actually Rama-Tut first, went to Egypt, conquered Egypt, and that's when he got his taste for conquering. And he went back to the 31st century and then took that over. And then that's where he went all the multiverse and blah, 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 and all stuff like that. So just to make this simple, I'm going to do the very first appearance of Kang, even though it's not Kang. It's a Kang, but not that Kang. So
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. So he debuted not as Avengers, even though he's the main Avengers threat. He debuted in Fantastic Four. So Kang debuted in Avengers, but Rama-Tut debuted in Fantastic Four, but they're the same guy.
Everybody debuted in Fantastic Four.
Everybody debuted in Fantastic Four. That's the thing. That was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's baby. Fantastic Four was their baby. So it was pretty much just a launch pad for the Marvel Universe. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Rama-Tut, the first Kang. When I'm done with this issue, you will realize why I hate Kang. So yeah. Let's get to it.
But he was like hanging out with dinosaurs.
I know, man. It was annoying as fuck. So basically, they give you this stinger issue where you open the book up and you see a pharaoh holding a gun at the Fantastic Four. You're like, wait, what the fuck is that? They'll get into it. Reed Richards think he has found the cure for blindness. And if you don't know, the Thing's girlfriend, Alicia Masters, she's blind. So he's thinking, I think I found a cure for blindness. I'm gonna kill your girlfriend. And things like, okay, you're talking out your ass. How did you find a cure for blindness? Okay, well, I don't know the cure for blindness. But when we went to an Egyptian museum one time, I looked at the hieroglyphics and I realized there was this pharaoh that was blind and he turned around, had this cosmic rod, and he can see again. So there's a pharaoh back in long time history that's unrecorded that nobody knows about that cured blindness. So back then, there's a way to find out. It's like, so how do we
find the cure? Lee, you fucking genius.
That's one thing you got to understand. When you start reading Fantastic Four books, you will realize one thing. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby was on some good ass drugs.
Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it.
So the thing is like, okay, so yeah, there's a cure for blindness back in ancient Egyptian time that we don't know about. So how the hell can we get back there? He's like, that's easy. It's easy because when we fought Dr. Doom, at the time, Dr. Doom was like a fresh villain. So Dr. Doom had a time machine. The very first time he fought up, he had a time machine. So even though we ran Dr. Doom off, his time machine is still in Latveria. So we could just take his time machine, go back to Egypt, and find a cure for blindness. You're like, well, that's easy. Let's go. So they fly to Latveria. They go to Doom's castle. They find his time machine. They tell Alicia to work the time machine. Yeah. So she works the time machine.
See this button? No, you can't. Anyway, put your hand here.
So they go there. So they rig a time machine up where they got 24 hours. After 24 hours, they're going to automatically come back to this time anyway. So they got 24 hours to find the cure for blindness in ancient Egypt. So they go there and they find the Sphinx. They go back in the time and the Sphinx hasn't been defaced yet because remember, Europeans came there. First thing they did is deface the Sphinx, but they find it's fresh there. So like, okay, cool. So while they're there, they get attacked by the ancient Egyptians and they get attacked. Of course, they're all white. Because
they're all white.
Yeah. So they get attacked. They run in the thing just standing there like, what the fuck y'all doing? So the Fantastic Four just beat the hell out these guys. There's nothing there because the Fantastic Four. Meanwhile, something happens and they all just lose their powers. It just faint, but they don't know why they're losing their powers. So when they wake up the next morning, they wake up in front of this Egyptian pharaoh.
They lose their powers and Ben is still a rock.
Well, he's weak, but he's a rock. You know, it's confusing.
God damn, he just gets fucking fucked all the time.
Right. So he's still ugly and big as fuck, but can't do shit. So
and then his woman's gonna be able to see his ugly ass after.
Right. Like maybe she should stay blind, you know. All right. So they run into the pharaoh that rules this whole land. Rama-Tut. So this is Rama-Tut. This is Kang the Conqueror before he's Kang the Conqueror. So yeah. So he's there and he's just like, oh, the Fantastic Four. It's like, the fuck? You're an Egyptian pharaoh. How the hell do you know we're the Fantastic Four? And why the hell are you speaking English? English doesn't exist yet. He's like, oh, that's a good question. And plus, how did you make us lose our powers? You're like, easy, with this gun. He pulls out a gun. It's a gun from the 30th century. And apparently it has the powers to rob the Fantastic Four of their powers. He basically gives the whole backstory. He's from the 30th century. There's no crime, no pollution. Everything's safe. So he got bored there. It's boring there. Meanwhile, he watches old kind of TV, like the Ancient West, stuff like that. And he watches the Fantastic Four on TV. So that's how he knows about the Fantastic Four, because to him, it's like old-timey TV. So he gets bored and he decides to go to a museum and he finds one of his ancestors' blueprint for a time machine. Pay attention to what I said. His ancestors' blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we already know that knows how to make a time machine?
Mm-hmm.
It comes full circle.
Well, they're always teaming up,
They're always teaming up because they think they may be related,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Kang is using Dr. Doom's time machine, and that's how he learns how to time travel. So yeah. So he builds a time machine that looks like a weird creature, so that when it goes there, they know to worship it. And the time machine he builds is the Sphinx. Ah, yeah. So he time travels in the Sphinx and he crashes it there. When he gets there, of course, they see the Sphinx and they start worshiping and thinking it's a god and stuff like that. But the crash so hard, he blinds himself. But later on, he has the technology to cure his blindness, so that's cool. So they try to stop him, but then he blasts them again and he takes the Fantastic Four hostage. Everybody except Sue Storm, because just like every other Fantastic Four villain, he fell in love with Sue Storm. So anyway, they do his bidding.
Blonde hair. Damn, that's hot.
Right. He's a court justice, so he's just doing that. He dresses up Sue Storm like Cleopatra, whatever. But now Thing transforms back into a human. Why?
Okay.
Because around this time in the 60s, he just randomly changed back into a human, but would always change back also. He could control it. It just happened. But the thing is, he transformed back, so that means he can slip out of his handcuffs. He's no longer on mind control status, and he just fights his way through, through Thing. So anyway, he swims back there. And meanwhile, he's in love with Sue Storm and makes Human Torch do tricks and shit like that. And Ben Grimm sneaks in, takes his weapon, his ray gun, blasts Sue Storm to free her first. When he frees her, she frees Johnny Storm. They go free Reed Richards. And Rama-Tut realizes, oh, the Fantastic Four are back. I need to get the fuck up out of here. So he runs, and he runs back to the Sphinx, because that's where his time travel machine goes. He's about to get out of here and go back to the future. There's a little tunnel under the Sphinx that they go there. So when they finally get there, they find Rama-Tut. He gets out of there, he teleports, and any kind of device that's in there, that's in the Sphinx, he blows up. So the Sphinx is just like this big dummy statue now, no longer like a time machine. It's just there. And he just leaves it there. So the Sphinx is his. Oh, and they find the cure for blindness in the Sphinx. So they find what they're looking for. Rama-Tut gets away, goes back to the 30th century. Alicia, actually time machine, they go back to the regular time. But here's the thing, the way Doom time machine works, they can't take anything back from them from the past.
Damn it.
So it was a waste of fucking time the whole time. So they're back in the present. They didn't find a cure for blindness. The end. So yeah, that's the story.
And Alicia just chilling there the whole time.
Yeah, she's just chilling the whole time.
No Doom bots. The Doom didn't find her.
Yeah, she just in Doom Castle. Nobody does anything. She's just there. So yeah, it's another wacky Stan Lee, Jack Kirby story. I did this. Technically, it counts as a Black history story, Black superhero story, even though he's not, but he is, but he should be, but he's not, or whatever. Yeah. So, Rama-Tut, there you go. So
why don't you like Kang?
Because of this bullshit. Because, okay, this book, he's Rama-Tut. Next book, he's Immortus. Next book, he's Silver Centurion. Next book, he's Mr. Timely. Next chick, he's a blonde chick with big titties. What the fuck, man? So every time you turn around, Kang is another person or thing or whatever like that. So it gets too confusing all the time. The thing that really pissed me off when Thor beat him to death with Mjolnir. And then 5 seconds later, he popped up in a time portal. He's like, hey, you killed me, Thor. I'm going to get revenge on you. And then just leaves. I'm like, so that's what you got. That's what you have waiting for.
So it's like was it the first Bill and Ted's movie where they kept, remember to leave car keys right here.
Right.
There they are.
Right. He does weird shit like that. So that's the thing Kang has. So yeah. So I'm sick of it, man. All this time travel Kang shit. Like, it's fun now. But when they really start getting to this shit, y'all are gonna hate Kang. I'm warning you now. So
Not if he takes his shirt off.
not if he takes his shirt off or becomes a blonde with big titties, whatever, just
Titties.
exactly. This is what Kang gonna look like in Kang Dynasty. So yeah.